So, in what ways can we understand the complementarity or the complementary perspectives on science and religion?
Yeah, science and religion, when we say that they are complementary, first of all, we have to understand the basic misconception that is prevalent in some sections of the society, that science is opposed to religion or religion is opposed to science, which is certainly not true. Actually, the best way to understand is there are two ways of approaching the reality, the reality of the world, of life, and of human beings. Science approaches it, let us say, for simplicity's sake, from the perspective of the how things work, while religion approaches the same reality from the perspective of why things are like this. Therefore, the how of science, the mechanism, how energy is transformed, how conveniences are built into a system, how machines function, and how we can do it much more efficiently. That is the basic function of science. While religion asks a little more fundamental questions like why is there life? Why is there the whole magnificent reality around us? Connected with that is the issue of meaning, purpose, goal, and the ultimate significance of life. So, science with its how and religion with its why, they deal with two perspectives or approaches to reality and life. Human beings need both. Human beings need to understand the material reality, and human beings need to understand the whole reality. So, in that sense, science and religion, they are two paths to the same goal. The paths may be different, but they all try to attain the same goal, that is, understanding the whole reality. Another way of looking at it is from the point of view of awe and wonder. The heavens declare the glory of God, says Psalm 19:1. So, this heaven, the world outside, that can be approached from science, from cosmology, with the Big Bang. Beautiful. That inspires in us glory, awe, wonder. That same heaven is also the symbol of the heavenly existence, the glorious future or destiny of human beings. That is actually approached from by religion. Immanuel Kant was actually a very famous German thinker, and he said, two things fill me with awe and wonder: the starry skies above me and the moral law within me. So, the starry skies above me, which is so beautiful, so majestic, so gigantic, that is a source of awe and wonder. Equally powerful, or even more powerful, is the moral law within me. Why I have the desire to do good, to be good. Why I am compassionate. Why do I love people? So, the exploration of the starry heavens is the realm of science. Why? Inquiry into my moral law, my ethical life, and my relationship with fellow human beings. That is the realm of religion. We need both. In fact, we need even more dimensions of life. We need science, we need religion, we also need poetry, we need literature, we need humanities. All these are different ways of approaching the same reality, the totality of everything that is which is beautiful, which is wonderful, and that can be approached from the perspectives of science and that of religion.
So, what is the relationship between neuroscience and mystical experiences?
The neuroscience is actually a growing field. In the last 15 years, it has actually produced significant results, and hopefully in the next 15 years, with various techniques available to the study of brain, it will produce actually very significant results. Neuroscience and mysticism, they do intersect, and there is a shared inquiry into the consciousness and of transcendence. Both of them try to understand what is actually the mystical experience, what is transcendence. Mystical experience, which is described as the union with the divine, they are now being studied through the lens of neural activity, which is a good thing. The neurobiological studies on meditation and prayer reveal activation in the prefrontal cortex and decreased activity in the parietal lobe. And these studies are related to self awareness and the spatial orientation of our brain. The famous book by Andrew Newberg, Neurotheology, shows that such states can produce feelings of unity, intimate unity, supporting the mystical claims. Mysticism beyond biology is also an important part of our reflection. While neuroscience can map the brain's activity during mystical experiences, it really does not diminish the authenticity of mystical experiences. It, I don't think, will ever be able to explain away the profound mystical insights. St. Teresa of Avila's description of ecstasy align with the findings of neuroscience, but they also point to something much deeper, an encounter beyond material explanations. As we observe in my book, Between, Before, Beneath, and Beyond, mystical experiences are not reducible to mere neurochemical reactions. In fact, they point to the larger dimension, the dimension of the divine, which will always remain beyond the scope of experimental or laboratory techniques. So, this has got profound implications for faith. Neuroscience, on the one hand, enriches spirituality by providing us tools to deepen practices like meditation, mindfulness, and contemplation. In that sense, it is very helpful. But the relationship is not one of reduction. We cannot reduce mysticism to neurobiological studies. But instead of reducing, we can look at it as complementary or as mutual enrichment. So, neurological studies will help us understand mystical experiences, but it will not explain away mystical experiences.
So, what are the ways and perspectives through which religious leaders can help believers respect and develop a consciousness about cosmology?
Cosmology is actually a vast field. The cosmos is so vast. Normal human beings cannot even understand how large, how great it is. And religious leaders, because they are so close to the people, they interact with the people much more often than the scientists, are in a better position to encourage believers to see the universe as an expression of the divine creativity, the divine abundance, or in fact, the divine superabundance. So, recently, there is one branch of theology called the cosmic theology. The cosmic theology, based on the imago Dei, that we are made in the image of God, invites people to view the cosmos as something sacred because it is created by God. And recently, the Laudato Si of Pope Francis emphasizes that caring for the creation, for the earth, is an act of worship. As we note in my book, Ever Approachable, Never Attainable, reflecting on the universe fosters humility and stewardship. It fosters empathy, compassion, and care for everything in it. The majesty, the awe, the gigantic structure, that is something beautiful. When you look at it, we need to face this reality with a sense of responsibility, genuine, compassionate responsibility. So, dialogue and education, they are crucial. Religious leaders can foster dialogue between cosmologists, scientists, and theologians, hosting discussions on topics like Big Bang, multiverse, and fine tuning, which are so crucial to understand the universe and also to understand how God works in the universe. Teaching Genesis, not just literally but metaphorically, can actually reconcile the Christian faith to the scientific discoveries of today's, today's time. We are actually living at a beautiful moment when science makes such gigantic strides. It's beautiful. We need to acknowledge them and praise them. At the same time, religion does not need to be afraid of them. So we need to celebrate the cosmic events, the great studies, progress of these scientists. So together with the cosmological phenomena like solstices, we need to celebrate them through rituals and deepen the people's connection to creation. They need to feel that they are part of the creation. The vast flow of life, the vast flow of creation that is going through me. So, my many works suggest that using these moments to pause, to think, to pray, to worship is an invitation to evoke wonder and surprise and reverence at the whole of creation. The stars above, the galaxies, and also the moral law within me. All these are part of the vast, beautiful, awe inspiring cosmos that God our Father has created. Created out of love for us, created out of abundance, created out of His gratuitous and unconditional act of love and forgiveness.
So, what is the Christian response to Richard Dawkins' The God Delusion?
Yeah, Richard Dawkins has written the famous book, and I was fortunate enough to meet him personally when I was in Oxford. Unfortunately, Dawkins says in The God Delusion that faith is irrational and harmful. Now, as a Christian, as a believer, I cannot just write him off. I need to enter into a meaningful dialogue with him, engage with his arguments critically and creatively, with compassion and with charity. The point is the relationship between faith and reason. Dawkins says that faith is almost like blind faith, ignoring the rich intellectual tradition of thinkers like Augustine and Aquinas. For Dawkins, the simplistic faith, which takes first Genesis literally, is the only way of understanding Christianity. As we have seen earlier, We need to take Bible seriously, but not literally. Bible has to be interpreted metaphorically or symbolically. Sad to say, Dawkins refuses to see the Bible or God in that way. Secondly, Dawkins sees the meaning only through science, not through religion. His worldview reduces human existence to chance and necessity only to the material world, neglecting the profound questions of meaning and purpose. The Christian experience of the world is that science explains the mechanisms of the universe, while faith addresses the ultimate significance. And we need both the mechanisms of how the universe goes through and the ultimate significance of all that happens. Then, coming to the ethical contributions, while Dawkins criticizes religion for historical injustices, he overlooks its role in fostering ethics, social justice, and human rights. Yes, sad it is, but we agree. Religion has been an instrument of innumerable harm, injustice. At the same time, we cannot just be blind to the numerous acts of empathy, to very many helpful acts which religion has fostered through its compassionate activities, not just of Mother Teresa, but so many people, including Francis of Assisi, Damien, and others. So, Christianity's emphasis on love, service, charity are seen in the lives of these great saints and ordinary people that Dawkins seems to completely ignore. So, as I said, we cannot write Dawkins off completely. We need to engage with him, with his atheism, with compassion and love. As a Catholic, we would not dismiss Dawkins' argument, but seek dialogue, recognizing shared commitment to truth, charity, and the betterment of humanity. I'm sure that Dawkins, in the heart of hearts, wants the world to be a better one. And that's precisely what we as Christians also want. He may have disagreements with our Christian approach, but we need to sit together. We need to explain to him that our way, our understanding of God is much deeper than a literal and irrational interpretation of Genesis 1. That all Christians don't believe that the earth and the universe is created in 6 days. But we do believe in a God who certainly loves us. And this has to be communicated and shared. We may still have differences of opinion, but we would still be able to work for the betterment and improvement of humanity as a whole. That is, I think, the way we need to go about.
Sir, as you rightly mentioned, the story of Genesis. Uh, what are your thoughts on the biblical creation story with respect to science?
Yeah, the biblical creation story and science. It's a very, very deep question, very insightful and also interesting. The biblical creation narrative given in Bible, both the two accounts, the J accounts and the P accounts, they are basically a theological statement. They are not interested in giving us a scientific explanation of how men came into the world. They are essentially theological statements. Statements like God loves us, God has created us, that we are called to serve the rest of creation. These are some of the insights that the story of Genesis wants to give us. So, Genesis, in this sense, is much more true than a literal 6 day creation story. Genesis is a myth in the profound and in the rich sense of the word. It is not a pure rational account of scientific creation. It is a poetic language to convey the deeper truths about God's sovereignty, humanity's dignity, and the goodness of creation. And this complements rather than contradicts the scientific account of evolution and that of Big Bang. See, one thing we can be very sure: Big Bang and evolution, they are the most accurate scientific theories of the creation of the world and of human beings till now. In 100 years, most probably they would come up with a different versions of the same story. But the Christian tradition's deepest insight is that God has created the world. The world is totally, completely dependent on God, and that God has created human beings with free will, with love, and with joy, and that human beings have got a special responsibility for the world. These theological insights will not change even after 100 years when science comes up with the new theories. Therefore, let us pause and look at the theological depth of these stories. The story of creation in the Genesis emphasizes, as I indicated, stewardship, interdependence, and the intrinsic value of all life. As I note in one of my books, Gratefully and Gracefully, these themes remain relevant, particularly in today when we have so much of ecological crisis. And they would be relevant also 100 years, 200 years from now. Thus, we really need creative dialogue between science and religion. People like Theodore Karl Rahner, they are people who have integrated the theory of evolution with theology, and they tell us how science and faith, how the vision of a believer and of a scientist can really come together. The creation story, when viewed symbolically with a deeper perspective, can enrich our understanding of the human history. Thus, the ecological imperatives in our Anthropocene is actually inviting us to act as caretakers rather than exploiters of the earth, just like Pope Francis, who reminds us in Laudato Si. Therefore, Genesis story is a clarion call that we human beings come forward and protect the earth. It doesn't really have anything to do with the 6 days or more. Remember, let me repeat it once again. The writers of the Genesis were not interested in providing us with a scientific theory of the creation of earth, the creation of the world. That is up to the scientists of today. But they were far more interested in giving us valuable lessons about life, about the relationship between God and human beings, the relationship between human beings and the rest of creation. That is precisely what the book of Genesis has told us, not a literal reading of the gospel.
Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable time and for
Thank you
sharing
very much.
your wisdom and insights, sir. We
Yeah.
hope and pray that, sir, we continue to engage in these type of talks and discussions for the future of humanity. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much. God bless you. All the best. Eh?
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.